The night my husband's family demanded my house, my company, and nearly every dollar I had earned, I did something they never expected. I smiled. Then I said, "All right, you can have everything that belongs to Daniel." My mother-in-law, Gloria, leaned back in her chair with the satisfied expression of someone who believed she had just won the lottery. Daniel's sister, Renee, immediately reached for her phone. She was probably already searching for furniture to put inside my house. And my husband. He stared at me without saying a word. None of them noticed the difference between what they had demanded and what I had agreed to give them, but they were about to. My name is Camille Bennett, and 12 years before that dinner, I started a small medical delivery company from the back room of my aunt's beauty salon. I had one used van, 3 local clients, and less than $2,000 in the bank. Every morning, I woke up at 4:30. I delivered laboratory samples before sunrise, medical supplies during the day, and paperwork after everyone else had gone home. For the first 3 years, I barely slept. Eventually, that one van became 5. 5 became 20. By the time I met Daniel, Bennett Medical Logistics operated in 4 states and employed more than 100 people. Daniel knew about my company when we started dating, but he never seemed impressed by the money. At least not at first. He was funny, attentive, and patient. When my van broke down during our 3rd date, he spent 4 hours helping me move packages into another vehicle. That was the man I married. Unfortunately, that was not the man sitting across from me 7 years later. The trouble began after Daniel's father died. His mother, Gloria, started calling him every day. At first, I understood she was grieving and lonely. I encouraged Daniel to visit her and helped cover some of her expenses. When the roof on her home needed replacing, I paid for it. When Renee lost her job, I gave her a temporary administrative position at my company. When Daniel's younger brother, Terrence, wanted to start a mobile car detailing business, I paid for his equipment. I never called them money loans. I considered them family. But Gloria considered them proof that I had more money than I deserved. Her requests slowly became demands. She wanted a new car because her neighbors were buying luxury vehicles. Renee wanted a management position even though she arrived late, ignored instructions, and disappeared for hours during the workday. Terrence wanted another investment after his detailing business failed because he spent most of the equipment money on a vacation. Whenever I said no, Gloria complained to Daniel. "A wife is supposed to support her husband's family," she would tell him. For years, Daniel defended me. Then something changed. He began questioning every business decision I made. He complained that my name appeared on the company instead of his. He started referring to Bennett Medical Logistics as our company, even though he had never worked there full-time or invested any money in it. Eventually, he convinced himself that my success belonged to him. The final confrontation happened during a Sunday dinner at our home. Gloria arrived carrying a folder. After dessert, she placed it on the table and announced that the family needed to discuss its future. "Our future?" I asked. "Daniel's future," she corrected. "And because you're his wife, that includes you." She opened the folder and removed several printed pages. Renee wanted to become vice president of my company. Terrence wanted $50,000 to start another business. Gloria wanted the deed to my house transferred into Daniel's name so she could be certain that her son would always have a home. They also wanted Daniel to receive 51% ownership of my company. That would give him complete control. I looked at my husband. "Did you know about this?" Daniel avoided my eyes. "We've talked about some of it." "Some of it?" He sighed. "Camille, we've been married for 7 years. I shouldn't have to ask permission to participate in what we built." "What exactly did you build?" The room went silent. Gloria slapped the table. "You see how she speaks to you? She acts like you're a stranger living in her house." Daniel finally looked at me. "My mother is right. Everything is in your name. The company, the house, the investments. If you decided to leave tomorrow, what would I have?" I studied his face, hoping to see some trace of the man who had helped me move packages from a broken van. I saw only resentment. "So that's what this is about?" I asked. "You're afraid I might leave?" "I'm protecting myself." Renee folded her arms. "Nobody is trying to take anything from you, Camille. We're simply asking you to share." "You want control of my company, ownership of my home? a management position, and $50,000. We're family, Gloria said. I slowly nodded. Then I smiled. All right. Gloria blinked. All right. You can have everything that belongs to Daniel. Renee nearly jumped out of her chair. I knew she would come to her senses. I stood and began clearing the dishes. My attorney will prepare everything. We can meet Friday morning. Daniel followed me into the kitchen. What are you doing? Giving you what you asked for. He lowered his voice. My family can be aggressive, but this will finally give everyone peace. No, Daniel. It will give everyone clarity. He did not understand what I meant. Not yet. Friday morning, the entire family arrived at my attorney's office. Gloria wore a new red suit. Renee brought a leather briefcase, even though there was nothing inside it. Terrence asked whether his $50,000 would be available that afternoon. My attorney, Ms. Holloway, invited everyone into the conference room. She placed 5 folders on the table. Gloria smiled at me. I'm glad you finally decided to do the right thing, Ms. Holloway began. Mrs. Bennett has instructed me to identify and transfer everything legally belonging to Daniel Bennett. Daniel leaned forward. Let's begin with the house. Ms. Holloway opened the first folder. The residence is not owned by Mrs. Bennett individually. It is owned by the Camille Bennett Family Trust, which was established before the marriage. Gloria's smile disappeared. What does that mean? It means the house does not belong to Daniel and cannot be transferred as part of his personal property. Renee frowned. But he lives there. Living in a residence does not establish ownership. Ms. Holloway opened another folder. Bennett Medical Logistics is owned by Bennett Holdings. Mrs. Bennett founded the company before the marriage and later placed her ownership interest into the trust. Daniel has never held company shares. Daniel's face tightened. That company grew while we were married. And you were compensated for the consulting work you performed, Ms. Holloway replied. Your employment records and payments are included. Daniel turned toward me. You planned this. I structured my business before I knew you, I said. You signed the agreement explaining everything before our wedding. Gloria waved her hand dismissively. He was in love. He didn't understand what he was signing. He had his own attorney, Ms. Holloway said. The room became quiet again. Then Terrence spoke. What about my investment? Ms. Holloway slid a document toward him. Over the past 5 years, Mrs. Bennett provided you with $78,000. Terrence's mouth fell open. That can't be right. It includes business equipment, vehicle repairs, rent assistance, and direct payments. She passed another document to Renee. Mrs. Bennett also paid you $46,000 in salary during the 14 months you worked at her company, despite records showing repeated absences and incomplete assignments. Renee stared at the page. Gloria suddenly looked nervous. Ms. Holloway gave her the final statement. And Mrs. Wallace has received $3,200 per month from Mrs. Bennett for housing, insurance, utilities, and personal expenses. Gloria pushed the paper away. That money was for the family. Yes, I said. Money I voluntarily provided because I believed we were family. Daniel shook his head. So what exactly are you giving me? Ms. Holloway opened the final folder. Mr. Bennett personally owns 1 vehicle, several watches, a retirement account, and the contents of a joint checking account. Daniel's confidence returned slightly. How much is in the checking account? Approximately $18,000. Gloria's eyes widened. That's all? There is also a balance of $31,000 on the vehicle and $24,000 in personal credit card debt. Everyone looked at Daniel. I had not known about the credit cards until 2 weeks earlier. Daniel had been secretly paying for his family's vacations, shopping trips, and failed business ideas. He assumed that once he controlled my company, he could simply erase the debt. Ms. Holloway placed another document in front of him. This is a proposed separation agreement based on the contract you signed before marriage. Mrs. Bennett is offering you the personal property legally belonging to you, along with an additional settlement. Separation? Gloria whispered. Daniel stared at me. You're divorcing me? You didn't ask to become my partner, I said. You demanded control. You sat in our home while your family divided my life as though I were already gone. I was only trying to protect myself. No, You were trying to reward people who convinced you that loving me made you weak. Gloria stood. You can't do this to my son. I'm not doing anything to him. I'm giving him exactly what belongs to him. What about my monthly support? That ends today. Renee's head snapped up. My position at the company? You stopped working there 6 months ago. Terrence's investment. There will not be another investment. Gloria looked at Daniel. Say something. But Daniel had nothing left to say. For years, his family believed he was the reason I was successful. Daniel had allowed them to believe it because their admiration made him feel important. Now they were learning the truth. As we left the office, I heard Gloria arguing with him in the hallway. You told us you owned half. I said Camille and I built it together. You said we would all be taken care of. I thought we would be. I kept walking. The divorce was completed several months later. Daniel received a fair settlement, but it was nowhere near the fortune his family expected. Without my monthly support, Gloria sold her luxury car. Renee found another job, but she was dismissed within 3 months for repeatedly arriving late. Terrence never started another business. The strangest part was that they all blamed Daniel. The same people who had convinced him to challenge me abandoned him when there was no money left to divide. One evening, nearly a year after the divorce, Daniel came to my office and he looked tired. I lost everything, he said. I shook my head. You lost access to things that never belonged to you. I lost you? That part is true. He lowered his head. I should have defended you. You should have respected me. There's a difference. He apologized, and I believed he meant it. But an apology does not always repair what entitlement destroys. Sometimes it simply arrives too late. Today, Bennett Medical Logistics operates in 8 states. I established a program that helps women start transportation and delivery businesses of their own. Every year, we provide vehicles, training, and business grants to people willing to do the work. I kept the house, but it no longer feels like the place where my marriage ended. It feels like the place where I finally stopped paying people to pretend they love me. Daniel's family wanted everything, so I agreed to give them everything that belonged to him. They simply never bothered to learn how little that actually was. Like, comment, and subscribe for more.